Well, hey, we're here at Gunner's Firearms with Maggie again. Maggie, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you, Mark. Welcome back, Internet.
Absolutely. Welcome back.
Too.
Yeah. Hey, this is going to be a fun video to make, but kind of a sad one in a weird way, because as you were getting the store open, we were just chatting, and something that when I mentioned it, you kind of were like, yeah, that thing, which is, I don't typically, if I'm out in the world, like at an event with other people, like a party, or if I'm traveling and I meet other people, I've gotten to the point where I won't tell them what I do. Like, I just straight up, they say, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I just do stuff. What do you do? I switch the subject really quick. And it's not because I'm ashamed of what I do in any way, shape, or form. And I've grown to tell people this, like, because sometimes it'll come out that I make YouTube content and they say, hey, what's your channel? And I say, I'm not going to tell you. And the reason I'm not going to tell you is because you're going to judge me, especially if you go to places like Europe or New York City. And they say, no, I won't judge you. And then I say, okay, I'll trust this. And here's what I do. And immediately they shift into this very judgmental. Like, I've had people say, so you're into shooting children? It goes so sideways so fast. And even my wife, like, there's times we've been out with people and they'll say, what do you do for a living? And she'll squeeze my hand because she doesn't want to go down that path. It's unnecessary. And people, no matter, like, they can know you for hours and hours and treat you a certain way. And then it just shifts because they're so against it.
It's polarizing.
Polarizing, yeah. So as I said that to you, you're like, oh, this thing.
I get it.
Yeah, it's tough.
I absolutely get it. I have been in places and having a grand time in the company of wonderful people. And they seem to feel likewise, but as soon as the topic comes around to what's your day job, and I have become very apprehensive about telling people what I do for a living, especially in certain situations, because I know not everyone likes firearms, approves of firearms, or in some instances, maybe they have had some sort of trauma in their family history or background involving firearms, which makes it a very difficult topic for them. So my husband's family had some firearm trauma from a few generations ago, and nobody wants that. Nobody likes that, but it does make certain members of the family apprehensive, and words have been said, and then it makes me feel bad, and like, they're just like, oh, so you approve of this? And no, I don't approve.
Yeah, I'm not pro-violence.
I'm not pro-violence, but I am pro-firearm. I'm pro-power tools. Like, I'm pro-cordless hole punchers. So I like guns, but I don't like telling people what I do. And I don't like the reaction that it elicits at all.
I don't either. And I know a lot of people watching this video will say, well, I don't care what people think. And generally speaking, I kind of don't either. But there's no reason to go down a path. Like, if you're sitting there in a social situation and you can avoid going down a path, that's only going to lead to you having to defend yourself or arguments. I mean,
it's going to make somebody feel bad.
It's unnecessary. Yeah. And I think it's better, and I have grown to say this, as I say, well, I'm just not going to tell you. When I get to know you better, I'll tell you. You find my channel out there, I'll tell you. But until you know me, you're going to change. And every time they say they won't, and I trust it, they do in a millisecond. And they might have thought I was the greatest guy, and then they just can't stand me. I've been called a bully. I've been called pro-violence. And I always back it up with, well, I like guns because it helps me to stop violence. That's the point of self-defense, is you can, if there's violence coming up on you, you can prevent it with equality.
Yeah. I don't like that split second turnaround where people are like, oh, so you're the problem.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I'm not here to be the problem. I'm not trying to be the problem. And I know it's not for everybody, and that's fine. If you have people that aren't cool with firearms at all, then that's fine. But there has to be a place to start. At one point in time, I was absolutely not as pro firearm as I am today. And I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before, but the first firearm that was adopted to the family that is my husband and I, he's like, hey, I'm gonna get a gun. And I'm like, well, my brother's got guns, my dad has guns, I don't really care for guns at this point. And I'm like, that's cool, babe, you do what you want to do, but you know, when you have this thing out, I'm gonna be like 2 blocks away hanging out with the neighbors. I want nothing to do with it. Fast forward decades and I'm like, yeah, hey, I work at a gun store. So there has to be a way for people to get into it that isn't abrasive, I suppose. And that's, it's a big first step for some people to get into firearms, to go from no thank you, I want nothing to do with it, to casually, you know, putting a toe in the water and testing it out and finding that the thing that you were so scared of, it really isn't that scary the more knowledge you have about it. But it doesn't stop people from being rude.
Absolutely. And I kind of, even as we were talking about this morning and even now, I kept thinking, like, is there anything that somebody could do that would make me go, oh, well, now I'm just going to be insulting towards you. And now I'm just going to, you know, make a lot of terrible assumptions about you. And I mean, outside of just admitting that you're a criminal, I can't think of anything that I would sit there and think negatively of a person, no matter what hobby they had, no matter what products they were into. Like, I can't think, so I don't fully understand how a person can easily sit there and just, well, now I'm going to think make all these negative assumptions about you because of what you do for a living.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's rude.
It is. It's terrible.
It's rude. And
I guess I'd pose the question, because I would imagine if you're watching this video that you also like guns, is my guess.
I hope you do.
What do you say to this? So, like, when this comes up, what do you say? Put it in the comments below. I'd also be curious what Brian says.
Hey, boss man.
What's up?
So, have you ever dealt with, like, what? Come right here. There you go. Now you're in the shot. So,
Brian.
Hey, everybody. So, have you ever dealt with people that become rude or hostile towards you when you tell them what you do for a living?
I openly tell people what I do for a living. No one's ever been rude or hostile.
Really? Nice.
Great. To be fair,
Nice.
this dude's
If
got
they
a...
ever judged me, so be it. I don't really, I do care a little bit, but at the same time, at the end of the day, I go home to my wife and children. I don't really care.
All right, I like this answer. That's a good one. That's a good one.
But I'm not a world traveler. I stay pretty close to the farm. So I don't really, there's a lot of like-minded people around here. So.
Yeah.
That's very true.
That is very
However, I do go to Southern California, San Diego a lot, and there's a lot of pro-gunners in Southern California. I've never had a problem there. So if I was going to have a problem, I would think it would have been there.
Well, you have the military base that's right there.
Yeah.
So I think in certain areas where there's more of a military presence, you have a lot more people that are more tolerant of other people's beliefs and hobbies. So
well, and honestly, now that you
went
said
to
it,
Palm Springs and I didn't have a problem.
no problem there.
yeah.
Many people asked me what I
Yeah,
did
of course,
in Palm Springs.
yeah, but to be fair, you weren't like, yay, pro-guns the whole darn time.
There was plenty of people asked what we were doing and where you're from and what did you guys do what do you have to do for a living. So
it kind of gets tempered by significant others, because we all have significant others that are not in the firearms industry at all. And in fact, your wife is in HR, your wife is in education, and my husband is in retail. So I mean, kind of polar opposite sides of the spectrum and everything like that. So it kind of tempers.
Well, and even as just listening to Brian talk, that because I thought, well, where have I experienced this at? And I really haven't experienced that much around here, to be honest.
No.
It's really when I go, because my family lives in Oregon and Washington. You can't say nothing around about guns there. New York City a lot. I won't say anything about there, or Europe. It's usually the very anti-gun places.
Never been to any of those places.
Yeah.
These fellas are far more traveled than I am.
I like this answer. I like Brian's answer. I think, because I feel like if it wasn't for my wife, like, honestly, because a lot of times the conversation will begin and she'll squeeze my hand. I can feel it, just like, don't go down this path, Mark, don't go down it. So I kind of pull back a little, and that's what's really got me doing it, honestly. But I like your answer better. So, well, guys, thank you for this. This is good stuff. I've grown a little bit in this video. So I really appreciate it. Brian, we always appreciate you taking the time. And Maggie, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for being here, Mark.
Absolutely.
It's always good to have you. And until next time, bye, Internet from Gunners.